Beloveds, beautiful, beautiful beloveds. I am in a slightly activated state. I am feeling like whatever remnants are here for me to see myself in alignment with my communion, integrated, deeper, divine union with self is very active in my field. I'm going to wait for a couple of people to jump on and join this live. When you're jumping on, what's alive inside of you? So I'm in frustration. I just moved through some anger and rage and sorrow, and it was basically triggered by my experience. So because I am activated, I am going to speak with more stillness and intention to ensure I'm speaking truth, because the message for me has been that I'm at a point of instant instant manifestation, that it is imperative for me to be speaking at a level of frequency and vibration that I am creating the energy and the multidimensional expressions of creation in purity and truth, so that I am not unconsciously using the level of energy that's come through in my being in mishaps. And that's what happens. The more that you open up to your infinite potential, the more power and creation capacity, because there's less limiting beliefs and you've already activated so much within you that you have the power to instantly manifest that. You also have the power to instantly manifest from a place of separation. You also have the power to manifest from a place of unconsciousness and create things that you don't really truly choose, because the further that you're in divine union with Source Creator, the further your discipline, your fine-tuning, the more that you are being asked to bring in this refinement. The level of devotion is more and more imperative as you move up the evolutionary scale of self-realization. And so the message I had this morning, and why I'm going to be extremely careful with my words in my expression, because I am activated, and I like showing up when I'm activated. I like showing up the truth of this experience, and how to use a trigger, how to use an activation of something, and to be really, really truthful and honest with yourself that it's not actually about the other person, it's not actually about anything else, it's about the greater whole, oneness, and it's always about actually me and the other person as well. So basically, I received a massive download the other day in relation to the remembrance of who I am. And this remembrance of who I am and this evolutionary choice that I chose included another individual. And this other individual and I have been journeying this choice point moments of evolving. And like AOSC, if you've been watching her, we're also choosing together. We're choosing to continually choose greater divine union. We're choosing source. We're going through this constant returning and fine-tuning back into the self. And you will hear on her transmissions and on mine where our brain will receive, oh, okay, actually I'm being corrected, and we refrain from communicating in the same way, and we will change what is there to suit the vibratory frequency of truth, because that is the level of commitment, is every single moment in the present moment being aware of what is being spoken. And so what's alive for me is that this level of choosing is not what everyone is choosing, and it's okay that not everyone's at this point, and I'm grateful I get to be this leader. I'm grateful that I get to share my experience through the challenges that I've done it through in the very human contrasty way to find pragmatic processes and guide others so that there is an easeful way to remembering through intention and through the awareness that we don't have to do it this way, and you can witness things and choose differently. And the more that I do that, the more I witness something and I don't play it out. So as I'm in this frustration in my body, I'm going to give some context to this download that was about me, and it was about someone else. And often in spirituality, we get so caught up in this, what's best for me, what's my highest timeline, it's all about me, because I'm coming into a place of spiritual awareness and self-awareness that divine union is about me. It's actually not. Divine union, yes, is about your connection to source, but when you connect to source, oneness, there is no separation between me and someone else. We become one of the same. So self-realization, divine union, is actually about the collective whole of creation in oneness. And that is why the evolution of our race, the wars, the different contrasts, the anger, the violence, the death, all the different things that take place on earth at the moment will be resolved as people remember divine union here. Because once you remember here, you realize that there is no separation. Every single person in front of you is a mirror of you, and you see them as you, and so you love them as you, and you don't have this me and then you, or you and then me expression. It is simultaneous oneness at one point in synergy. And so the awareness is that we tend to like to focus on one lens more than the other. And my download was a agreement between two individuals that were choosing divine union for ourselves, but in togetherness. So there was a divine union agreement in place where I was choosing this, another person is choosing this, and then we're choosing this together for the collective whole to bring through a new modality, to bring through a foundational way of using quantum frequencies, technologies, information with the body and light languages and all these processes that we've been gathering up for lifetimes to finally bring both the divine union in a masculine pillar and the divine union in a feminine pillar together for the betterment of not only ourselves together, but the whole of creation, because there's no division when you're choosing that. It is for the allness. And the challenge is that what happens when we have these big downloads? What happens when we see who we are? What happens when we really remember? And I know there's quite a few of you on here that I've worked with personally, and you may have received different downloads about your ascended mastery. You may have seen yourself as some version of Christ. You may have seen yourself doing big things, working on a stage, having your own modality. All of these things are true and real. But what happens is we tend to not choose from that place of knowing. We tend to not choose from here, and we get caught in the fear and the self-sabotage and the contrast. And one of the things that I find in my act of discipline was when I made a commitment that my primary relationship was with God about 3.5, 4 years ago. And since then, that has been my primary commitment is with God. And if I'm seeing through the eyes of God, and if I'm being an embodiment of God, source creator, then I'm constantly choosing to remember that, to come to love, to come to seeing the self, to see where God is not playing out in my experience. Right now, I can feel that I'm very much allowing the truth to come through me, yet I'm fully in this place where I could quite easily go into a place of disassociation or talking from a place of untruth, because the energy here is like, I want to actually disconnect from being in God's presence right now, because it's very uncomfortable in my body, because I'm seeing, because I've got God source creator moving through me right now, and I'm in a trigger. Anything that is not of this divine union here is coming up. And so that's what will happen when you have these downloads, you have this information, it comes through, and if we don't look at the triggers and the resistance that's there, what happens is it comes up and it plays in the subtleties. If you're not so aware that you're fine-tuning your being for self and for other, because everywhere you go, if you're not noticing these little triggers, if you're not noticing where something's come up and you've actually disconnected from your heart space, from your inner being, is that you will start to play out from a place of severance, and you don't even recognize that you're in severance, because the discomfort, you're like, yeah, actually I'm gonna go detour a little bit over here, and your mind has done this your entire life. Your mind has been doing this to keep you safe. So in this moment where I'm activated, I feel unsafe. But I have come to a place where I'm like, it's okay, body. It's okay to feel unsafe. It's okay to feel a lot of energy. It's okay to feel emotion. It's okay to be in the activation and to lean into it rather than pull away from it, distract from it, and cause destruction and separation, because that's what it is. If you say you're in devotion to source, that's what you're in devotion to. You're in devotion to being in all aspects of life, through the light, through the dark, through all realms of polarity. And what is challenging for me, and so I want to unpack my trigger. That's the whole point of this. As well as the education, I want to unpack my trigger on this live so that you can see how quickly you can choose to not allow the severance to happen, so you're not playing out and creating from separation. Because had this download that me and this individual received, had this individual actually been willing to look at the discomfort in his body and look at what was there, he would have been able to see the distortions that were sitting in his field. Instead, he was not, I don't know what he went and did for his day being, whatever. But as the day goes on, right, you don't notice the subtlety there. It starts to build. The mind starts to distract. You start to get busy. You are maybe not present. And what happens is you actually act in a place of separation from distraction. And distraction is often a feel-good feeling, right? When we distract, we tend to disconnect from our heart in a higher vibrational feeling of higher mind, which makes us feel good because there's a high feeling, but we're not embodied in our fullness of connection of source creator. So we will look for feel-good things. That's what drugs is. That's what alcohol is. That's what sex is. That's what my dog barking is not. Is that there is these moments, and if we don't catch them, we're not so present with this. Like right now, I have a choice to do this and to share this and to express this for the greater good of all, because you and me are not separate, we are the same. And so if I'm choosing to be in my fullest expression of vulnerability, intimacy, truth, source, then it gives the opportunity for every single other person in my experience to choose that also, because I'm being in authenticity. Then I feel like I need to go and get my dog. So hang on. So what happens, oh my foot's got a cramp, is that if we don't allow ourselves to be in this discomfort when it comes up, and we actually close and we don't speak into it and we don't look at it in that moment, it becomes something that we play out in our experience. And we play it out through distractions, and because we're distracting, we actually subconsciously create experiences that become painful. That's the truth. Is if you're not choosing from here in the discomfort in the now, if I was to close this down, which I quite easily could at this point in my life because I've gotten very good at it, and go off and do what I've got planned for the evening, and go and socialize and connect with people and be in this space of community. Community helps me to feel love. I'm not going to notice what's here in my heart, and I will create something that will cause it to come up. Probably not straight away due to me. I can sort of go, okay, it's not the right time right now. Can you give me, I'll ask source. You can ask source in this moment. It's like, okay, I've got to kind of do some stuff. Promise I'll come back to this. Can we look at it in an hour or two without creating havoc? Can I keep my heart open and still be in the but not let the be all over the shop and play out in my experience? Darling, I'm not playing, honey. I know. Oh, she's so cute. So there is that opportunity. You can have a trigger come up and you can be like, well, actually, it's not exactly the right time for me to drop inside and try and clear this. Maybe I'm driving and I haven't mastered the art of going inward while I'm driving. Maybe, you know, whatever it is. You can go, I'm going to choose to sit in the discomfort. I know that this is here. I'm not going to distract from it. I will come back to it. That is different. That is different. You're going, I witness you. I see you. I'm not sure why you're here. I'm not sure what this means, but I am going to bring my attention to it and love it and transmute it and bring it into my awareness so I can return to some purity by cleansing and purifying this. Or you can deny it and you can play it out and something in your life will happen. And it's not fun. It's not fun. From someone who's done a lot of not fun learning, it's not fun. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. You go into distractor and you play out these things, and I consciously chose to distract. I was like, okay, if this is true, I am going to choose distractor on purpose. And I did. I chose distractor on purpose. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't want to look at this right now. I am going to shut my heart down. I'm going to do distractor consciously and see what happens. And it was never a good time. It was never a good time because I was shutting my source connection down. I was shutting myself off from myself, that even if I thought that I was going to create something more fun, you know, when I was younger, not that much younger, it was like, how many past lives? I feel like I'm an ancient old wise woman now. Just gonna have a little laugh at myself for a second. Okay. But things like when things were really challenging and I was going through these ones and I was really highs, really lows, and I still had the awareness, I just didn't have the discipline, the commitment, the self-control. I had the awareness and I didn't have, I didn't want to, it's true. I didn't want to sit with it. I wanted to distract with it. I wanted the familiar. I wanted the idea that if I chose something that felt better, that I wouldn't actually have to do the hard work. I wanted to bypass at times. And so I would do the thing and I would realize how painful and uncomfortable it was. I'd be out trying to distract myself consciously and I couldn't be present. I couldn't have fun anyway. It was not something that was good. And then I would create something, you know, a car would break down. I remember getting a speeding fine once, and ending on my phone when I was trying to distract myself with someone that Spirit was very much saying, this is not a good idea. We're not advising that you go down this path. And we're telling you, and we've told you, and we've told you, and we've told you. And mind you, I'm driving to this person's house and I'm feeling violently ill at the same time. And I'm ignoring it because I was hell-bent on like the story of the fantasy of the mind that I'd created that was way better idea than looking at what was actually there. And so instead of listening to my intuition, my guidance, my channeled message, my inner voice, my body, everything, it took me to get a speeding fine and a mobile phone fine that was like, I think it was like $1,500 in like a split second, right? Literally a U-turn from this individual's house that that stopped me. It was the thing that stopped me and was like, the universe is like, you're not doing this. We are not letting you do this, even if you want to. And it was that much of a contrast. That's what happens if we don't listen to the here, where it's going, oh, I don't want to feel this. But this is actually truth. This is source. This is all that isness, all the uncomfortable feeling, all of the anger, all of the frustration. If I don't look at this, then I'm going to create it so that I have no emotional response for it, so that something happens and to stop me. That's what it is. It's kind of like a brick wall, and you're like, oh, fuck, gotta redirect myself. Okay. Clearly I've gone off path, right? That's what happens. It's a brick wall. You can't go past it. It doesn't matter what you try and do. It's like, yeah, all right. And now I've got to look at myself. Because I wasn't looking at myself 25 steps back that way, no matter how much was being told. And so when we have these moments, and the more that you're evolving, right? That was an early experience in my journey. I was still playing. I was like, you know, it was not where I'm at now. It's not what I know. I wasn't in service to humanity. I was just like, I kind of want to heal. I kind of want to have some self-love, right? This is now at a point, depending on who you are and where you're at on your journey, you will have some resonance to what I'm saying, because it doesn't change. It's just the tuning, right? So you'll either get this, you'll either get 35 warnings to redirect, or where you're at with me, like in my evolution, and probably AOSC, I'd love to hear what she says, is you don't get a choice. It's like you're in or you're out. And that's what happens, because the fine tuning of the bandwidth being open to consciousness, or you can close to your identity and to your ego. And there's no room. There's no room for that anymore. There's no room for me to go, oh, just give me a few days and then I'll look at it. It's like, no, it's here now. And you have a choice. Otherwise, from what I was saying at the very start of this call, is I'm at a place of instant manifestation in my mind. I've come to that place of remembrance where what I think, I will create. So what am I creating? Do I want to create from that place? Or do I want to look at this? And so in this polarity, right? We've got two individuals that I've spoken into. I love these stories. They're so like, definitely feels like feminine flow conversation. Because I'm triggered, right? So I am. I'm in my feminine flow. But we had two individuals, one that was uncomfortably choosing their highest path, one that wanted to choose their highest path but wasn't, and decided to go off path and do distraction. And so what happens is that the contrast affects both people, right? This is where we're not separate. I am you, you are me. If I, with all of this awareness of what I just spoke into, chose to shut my heart off and go and do life, I am affecting every single one of you. I'm affecting the whole of creation, because I actually know better. Because it's my responsibility to come back to source, knowing that if I'm not creating from here, I'm affecting you and me and all of life. Because I have remembered that. I have seen that. I see that in the quantum field. And so what I see when there's someone who's choosing their highest path and then they get stuck in ego and they get distracted and they let some wounding play out because they don't have discipline and they don't have control. And look, I mean, that's probably, this is the part. This is a part of my trigger, right? I get frustrated. So that's where the trigger is, I'm frustrated in the people that I walk in alignment with that don't have the same discipline and the same control to meet themselves in these moments like I do. It's something that really, really, really upsets me. And it upsets me because several reasons. One, I see the bigger picture, so I know there's no separation. So if that person's not having the discipline to choose themselves, they don't have the discipline to choose me our collective group mission, God, all of creation. And that hurts. It actually hurts me to see that. It hurts me to watch over and over and over again. And I've watched so many beings choose from fear and not from their heart and not from their source remembrance. And I watch what that creates. And not just here, not just in their life where I see them suffering, but I see how it affects the other beings in their life. I see how it affects the quantum field. And that's painful for me to watch. And I know that this is something deeper for me in the wounding as to why I'm so triggered by this. Because if I was in the place of truth, if there was not a distortion within my field right now, I would be able to say it's okay, because life is always happening for us, and we can see and we will learn and we will return to source, which is all true, right? There is all truth in that, but there's also that's the zoomed out lens. The zoomed out lens is, yes, it's all happening for a reason, and don't be hard on yourself. Have compassion, be kind. For me to be kind to everyone, that's how can I be a healer and a coach if I'm not being compassionate to people's journey and what they're choosing? Because we choose what we choose until we don't want to choose it anymore. And I've done many of those things. I just explained all of that. But then there is also this point where it's like, actually, you need to be self-responsible. Actually, there's a point on your journey where you can't make justification, excuses, and stories up for your lack of ownership. When you know and you're choosing not to act in alignment and integrity with your knowing, that becomes an act of Satanism, really. You're consciously choosing out of your own lack of ownership to create evil in the world. That's what it is. When you're creating with a closed heart and you're distracting on purpose, you're choosing to create evil in the world. And I know that sounds very polarized, but sometimes we have to see it that way. We have to see, well, you're either creating from love or you're creating from what is not love. And so my feeling inside, all right, so this is where it's like, yes, I'm frustrated at this person. I'm frustrated this person is not choosing their highest timeline, because if they're not choosing their highest timeline, I'm walking on my highest timeline alone again. And I'm like, God, come on, guys. Like, I lost a lot of people in the Lionsgate portal. I lost 2 of my council members. I'm grieved quite a bit in relation to choice points lost. Not only for that, but for the knowing that when they wake up to not seeing that they've missed a choice point, it hurts, like actually hurts. So when you come to a point when you've realized you've missed a choice point and you feel the pain, feel it. Feel how painful it is, so you don't miss that point again. For you, so that you can start to see that you are no different to me. And when you choose you, you're choosing for me also. That's love. And so this is the frustration that I'm having right now, is that what's really here for me is it has nothing to do with this individual being. I'm like, yes, I am aware of all those things, and yes, all of that hurts, but what's here for me is that I'm frustrated that, again, my devotion, my discipline, my commitment to the truth, my commitment to dissolve the aspects of my own wounding, to meet myself in every moment, to see myself, has resulted in me walking alone. So that's the actual trigger, right? It's the frustration is the story of the mind, which is a story, right? Because the story of the mind's going, again, my devotion. Why be devoted if I'm going to be alone? I hate being alone. I hate being devoted and having to do all this work by myself. How am I meant to do my mission on my own, right? That's the mind. Mind is wanting to say all of these things. The mind wants to come in and be like, well, you can't rely on anyone, because no one's choosing what you're choosing. Not true. Story. Painful. But it's not actually true. It's like, okay, what if the hurt of the anger, the rage for the highest path, that's what it is. It's like, I'm angry that I'm choosing my highest path. I'm rageful that I'm choosing my highest path. I'm frustrated I'm choosing my highest path. I am sad that I'm choosing my highest path. I am... what else? Pissed off? No, there's something deeper. What is it? I am resentful. And the deepest belief. What is the deepest belief here? I hate my highest path. What's under that? So what I'm doing is I'm layering my consciousness. So I hate my highest path. I can feel that here. What's under my I hate my highest path is, it makes me want to be sick. So I can feel all this energy coming up in my sacral chakra. My highest path means death. Of course it does. Of course it means death. Is that the lowest belief? Yes. Okay, so now that was that was actually a really, really great, just let my body shake out and vibrate what's come out. The highest path means death. So that's what's in my molecular structure. That's what's in my cellular memory. As you can see, my body is so used to releasing things that I just have to witness them and it will do it. Okay, so I can feel some space opening up in my chest now. I still feel nauseous. But when we look at the belief that we just identified within my being, that my highest path equals death, that's going to bring up a lot of reasons that I'm not going to want to walk my highest path, but also a very, very big awareness why the mind is so triggered right now. Because as I choose the highest path, and what's got activated is there is no space for this identity left. There is no place. What happens is it's going to die. My highest path does mean death. My highest path means life in union with Source. So this doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't. The amount of triggers that happen for me are few and far between now. I live in a place of peacefulness. As you could see, I could still be in a trigger and still facilitate from my heart. And I identified it, and you can feel the difference in my being. You can feel the difference in what I share, my softness. Listen, feel. What's still here, there is something still present, okay? So I got to the lowest belief. So now I'm going to tune in to the lowest. If there's no feelings, truth, there's no feelings, no. All the clearing has taken place. Okay, so I've gotten to this deepest part. But what we forget when we're still feeling raw and we get to the bottom of something, and we're still feeling raw, it's because we need to return parts, right? We need to return our soul fragments. We need to, I'm realizing the time, I've actually got to go. But I want to finish this. I have to finish it anyway, so this is my commitment to devotion. So I've gotten to the lowest belief, but my heart is still technically, it's like vibrating and it's open, right? So I've cleared the shadow, but I need to bring in the light. I need to bring in the higher frequencies. So what's here for me is reclaiming, reclaiming the highest path in alignment with life force creation. So sometimes when you tune in, you're not going to know what those words really mean. But as you saw, as I said it, I was like, okay, yeah. It has a vibratory resonance. It has a frequency that I'm calling back into my being. Now, I am activating. So what am I activating? I am activating... I am activating divine union with God, Source Creator. Now I've activated that many times. I've activated that many times, yet it still hits different blocks. So I can only receive what I can receive at a specific time until one day that activation becomes the embodiment of that which I am, and it will no longer be an activation that will come through, because I am it. I am in divine union with God, Source Creator. Not there yet, which is okay. But we will be. Alright, so what else is here? Activation, reclamation. A reclamation. Okay, so a reclamation is the energy of reclaiming something that was lost. So soul fragments. I'm reclaiming from all time, space, dimensions, the soul fragments to come into deeper divine union with God, Source Creator, that were lost, stolen, taken, or given away. Breathing to allow this energy to come into my being. Breathing to expand my cells out so they shake and they move. What else is here? A recalibration of the heart chakra to balance in synergy with the highest octave of divine union with Source. So we've done the clearing, we did an activation, we did a reclamation, we did a reclaiming, I think. My brain started to go tweaky, right? So because I'm in the middle of a process, I'm going also into an altered state of consciousness, like I've just microdosed a small amount of mushrooms. And it feels good, but it's also hard to stay in focus, because you start to go into this place of like, oh, where was I? Where am I? I forgot. Because you have an influx of source energy that comes into your being. And so when you're in I mean, it's great. Like, I love this. I love that I've got to do this on a live video, because you got to see what my energy was, and then you're going to get to see what my energy is at the end. Right? So I'm in this little bit of a mushroom trip right now. Alright, what else is here? A recalibration of my neuro pathways. to allow for the highest states of divine union consciousness to be rewired into my Beria, Koreanati, Shatiana, into my left and right hemispheres of my brain, secreting more DMT in my pineal gland, and aligning the Holy Trinity of my crown with my pineal and my third eye. So as I'm doing this process, I am also working in the quantum field. So in my inner eye, I'm drawing with light language or light coding these things. I'm seeing energy come in. I'm seeing the infinity loop recalibrate my heart chakra. You can do it with your hands. Like if this is you, if you're going to use this, which I encourage you to do, and it may not be as easy as what it looks here. This has taken a lot of practice. There you can recalibrate your heart just by putting the infinity symbol on and saying, I'm balancing my left and right into union. I'm balancing into union. I'm calling union into my heart. Right? That's all. It's intention. It's energy. We all have chi. Literally, we all have chi. All it takes is I'm going to give myself the source love chi connection to help my body recalibrate after that trigger, to open to more love, to release what is no longer serving me, to let go of what has been in the way of me choosing the highest path of love, despite what anyone is choosing. And when you call it in, you will purge what's in the way. And it will come up. Whatever's in the way of that intention, that invocation of what you're calling in will shift. Might take some time, or you can choose to integrate it and do it instantaneously. Okay, what else is here? Because we are running out of time. We have cleared, activated, reconciled. We have reintegrated. What else do we need to do? Reintegrate something else. What else are we reintegrating? My highest monadic expression. So this is what I've been working on, is my multidimensional essence, my spirit essence of that which I am, which was where the name Kiai Ariati came from, is my essence, fullest expression of self. I need to keep reintegrating that in because I'm moving the impurities, so I have to tune and purify my expression. So I'm calling in my highest monadic expression and reintegrating that into my field, into my meridians, my chakras, all the activation points. I'm going to shift it. Okay, what else is here? Anything else to be cleared? Anything else to be activated? Reconciliation of past timelines. I can see a little bit of my mind going, I don't want to do that. And I can see that there's like this. It's just a little bit of like, if I reconcile the past timelines, I know that there's only the future highest timeline there, right? So gathering up in my mind all of the past timelines and all other timelines that are not of my highest divinest timeline. And I'm going to gather them up. And I'm going to place them in a portal in front of me. Gathering up all past timelines, all future timelines, all timelines that are not of the highest divinest timeline in conjunction with God, Source, Creator, and all beings. And I'm going to release all our timelines into this vortex to be transmuted and sent to the earth. So this is me actually pushing it out of my field. From my crown all the way down, I'm sending it down to the earth, letting the earth transmute it. All past timelines being reconciled, yes. Is there only the highest divinest timeline forward? Yes, beautiful. Is there anything else? No. Okay, with that, I am complete. I can feel in my heart tenderness, love, joy, recalibration, excitement, opportunity, safety, trust, knowing. Yeah. So as I did that, right, this is me choosing my highest path. This is choosing me and choosing you. By me doing this right now, I chose us, not just in the sharing of this, but in the fact that I chose from my heart, and you and my heart are really one heart. They are one but the same. So if I'm choosing from love, and if you're choosing from love, then we're choosing for all. If we're choosing from a closed heart, from fear, from our ego, that's where the confusion and the separation comes in. There is no separation. There isn't. There's not one before the other. I'm choosing me, and I'm simultaneously choosing you and all of creation. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm going to go and do my things now that I can go do the things.